So, Jason, the Republicans continue to be at odds in the legislature about how to finish the state budget, and transportation is one of the big hangups. So where are we at on that?
Well, where we're at is really nowhere so far. I mean, you see in the Assembly, Speaker Robin Vos did make the concession that he is accepting the fact that there will not be a gas tax or vehicle fee or other type of revenue increase to help pay for road projects. But he is still trying, he has fallen back to a position of, therefore, there will be no new borrowing by the state for road projects, that the state will sort of have a real base level budget. And, you know, the Senate Republicans particularly are just having, you know, none of that. They want more than $700 million in borrowing for roads. So there's almost $750 million difference that are still separating the two sides on this one.
Yeah. And wasn't there a plan thrown out there in the last few days, too, which would sort of fund transportation with revenue maybe that's being used to fund other things? I
mean, there's always that possibility. The borrowing would be, you know, whenever government borrows money, you look at what is a stream of money that's going to be used to pay off those loans. The governor would be willing to do $300 million in loans that would be just for, you know, paid off with gas tax money, paid off with money that traditionally is used for highway projects. Senate Republicans want to toss on several $100 million more that would be paid off with sales and income tax money that is typically used for schools and healthcare and other priorities besides roads. So that's, you know, that's one of the arguments that, you know, all that sounds pretty esoteric, but I mean, you know, at the base of it is, do you want to sort of squeeze schools a little bit in future years to have more orange cones up on the roads, you know, over the next 12 months? I mean, that's sort of what's at the heart of it.
What's the upshot of increased borrowing? Will that increase the cost of some of these road projects down the road?
Sure. I mean, you know, it's a trade-off because on the one hand, you know, because of inflation, the cost of actually doing the construction may go up, you know, probably will go up over time. They certainly have in the past. And, you know, on the other side of it is people like the Assembly Republicans are concerned that there is this ever larger share of our road fund that gets devoted to just paying off debt. You know, that a few years ago, you know, it was in the 10 cents on the dollar range. You know, now it's up, you know, past 20 cents on the dollar. You know, and they say, look, you know, you get to a certain point where that's really not sustainable, where, you know, a big chunk of your money every year just goes off to paying projects that you did in the past, and you don't have as much money to actually do things in the here and now.
So Assembly Speaker Robin Vos, whose district is in Racine County, has long been a supporter of improvements to I-94 south to the state line.
Right.
But there's been a lot of talk in recent days about the possibility of this large Asian conglomerate, Foxconn, relocating manufacture here, and the rebuild of I-94, particularly a couple of those interchanges, plays into that as well, right?
Oh, it absolutely plays into it. I mean, the joke that I always use is that if Foxconn asked us to build I-94 with gold bricks, like, I'm not saying we would do it, but they'd sort of take a look at it. I mean, you know, it's such a sort of generational opportunity to bring that plant to the state. And they obviously are looking at, you know, they seem to be looking most at sites in the Racine area. And, you know, obviously if they're going to put that sort of a multi-billion-dollar plant there, they're going to want to have a lot of assurances that they can put their, you know, flat screen TVs and their other, you know, display units onto trucks and get them onto the interstate and get them around the United States. So that's going to be a big part of the debate if that Foxconn plant materializes.
Okay, so finally, Jason, any signs of compromise here between Speaker Vos and the Senate Majority Leader or Governor Walker?
Boy, I mean, yesterday looked pretty bleak. I mean, in terms of, I really think at this point, given how long it takes to get a budget signed into law, even when you have a deal, it takes a couple weeks. I think we're probably looking at August before something really gets signed. And then August gets very difficult because you have lots of vacations and so forth. The one little glimmer is, again, Speaker Voss accepting that there wouldn't be a gas tax increase. So kind of at that point, you're really sort of arguing over how much borrowing you're going to have. And that is, at the moment, it's quite an argument, but it doesn't seem like something that the two sides couldn't work out quickly if they each got the will to do that. It's just that will to compromise seems to be lacking right now.